Welcome to the program. US Secretary of State Hilary Clinton has wrapped up her visit to Melbourne by appealing for patience as international forces try to improve security in Afghanistan. After several hours of talks between top-level US and Australian delegations, she would not be drawn on an exit strategy for troops in Afghanistan, but said the mission was on track to hand over authority progressively to local officials. The war was one of the main topics at today's meeting, which also canvassed a boost in America's military presence in the Asia-Pacific region, including Australia. The two close allies also signed an agreement to monitor potentially dangerous objects in space. In a moment, I'll be talking with Foreign Minister Kevin Rudd about one aspect of the talks. But first, the day's events from political editor Heather Hewitt.
The promised fun part was over, and this morning the real purpose of the visit to Melbourne by US Secretary of State Hilary Clinton and Defence Secretary Robert Gates got underway at Victoria's Grand Government House.
First of all, could I say to both Secretary of Defence and Secretary of State how terrific it's been to have you here in Melbourne.
Thank you very much, Kevin, and thanks to you and Stephen and your respective teams for all the work and planning that went into this Osman.
We had plenty to talk about, not just a rehearsal of past values and continuing values and common values, but also the application of this alliance to our future challenges and opportunities in the region.
Many Australians would not have heard of the term OSMIN until the arrival at the weekend of US celebrity politician Hilary Clinton. But it's certainly more than a photo opportunity amongst close allies. For several hours, top-level US and Australian delegations held talks today on issues like Afghanistan, the increasing military power of China, and defences against cyber attacks. The focus, though, was Afghanistan, and Australia, it seems, is still pretty much with the US all the way.
Of course, the Australia-US alliance remains the bedrock of our strategic security and defence arrangements.
Together we reaffirmed our commitment to the ongoing international effort in Afghanistan. This is a tough fight, but we are there as continuing and enduring and strong partners of the United States and our other NATO and ISAF allies.
The United States government, and I would say the American people, are keenly aware of the price Australia has paid as the largest non-NATO contributor of combat troops.
But there's no going back just yet, at least not in public, and certainly not at the news conference that followed the OSMIN talks. No detail beyond a joint communique agreeing that the plan was for Afghan National Security Forces to progressively assume responsibility for security by 2014. In the work that went on here this morning, have you been mapping out an exit strategy for Afghanistan, and what conditions would have to be set for this?
Well, to the contrary, we are in agreement that the strategy that we are implementing together in Afghanistan is the right strategy. It is really important to underscore that the progress that we believe is occurring is very challenging. It takes patience. It requires all of us to understand that this is a tough fight that we're in, but we're convinced that starting next year there will be parts of Afghanistan that will be under the control of the Afghan government and its security forces. We can't stand here today and tell you when or on what timetable or any of the details, because we will be making those assessments based on the conditions as they occur.
As for the reasoning behind the US decision to consolidate its relationships in the Asia-Pacific region, Hilary Clinton wasn't having a bar of any suggestion this was to respond to China's build-up of its own defence apparatus. The US, she argued, had maintained a presence in this region for 100 years.
We've been here, we are here, and we will be here. The United States is both a Pacific and an Atlantic power. And if there were any question or doubt about our intentions, I hope that the last 20 months of the Obama administration has put those finally to rest. And the United States has consistently said that we welcome the economic success of China, the positive effects that it is having on the Chinese people. As China becomes more of a player in regional and global affairs, then we expect that China will be a responsible player and will participate in the international framework of rules that govern the way nations behave and conduct themselves. So we're not doing anything differently in any significant degree.
But they are boosting military ties with Australia, including more American ships, aircrafts and troops to visit here and take part in joint training exercises. Again, no details just yet, apart from a working group to establish how this might take place.
Beyond that, I would say speculation is way premature because I have not even made decisions within the Department of Defense on what I'm going to recommend to our own National Security Council and the President that we do in Asia, except to say that the one thing I believe we all agree on is we are looking at an enhanced presence for the United States in Asia and not some kind of cutback.
On the face of it, it may not seem earth-shattering stuff, but officials on both sides later described the face-to-face meetings spread over 3 days and involving senior bureaucrats too as crucial to the alliance.
I would characterize them as extremely productive, constructive, very warm, and practical. We not only spoke about many of the issues we each see in the region as well as globally, but what we're going to do about them.
An alliance is a relationship between friends who share common values, who stand by each other through thick and thin. That's the history of this alliance, and that's the future of this alliance. To Hilary and to Bob, safe travels.
And with that, they were heading home to the US, with no doubt in their minds that Australia was well and truly on side.
Political editor Heather Hewitt from Melbourne.